Well, guys, episode 7. Wow. I was actually very surprised. It was actually quite a good episode. Found out quite a bit. Um, so let's go through it, shall we? Okay. Now, we start off with on the beach. Some sand with, who doesn't do that? As soon as they go to the beach, who doesn't wiggle their toes in the sand? I mean, I do it. I'm guessing that everyone does it. And why wouldn't you? It's a nice feeling. And believe it or not, it's actually pretty good for your feet as well, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, we'll see. So now, this is an odd bit because when she's holding a shell that seems to be sliced in half, I think it's the same shell that was in that book. And yes, this is obviously a memory from a lady's childhood where she likely imagined that she was actually on a beach. But the interesting thing is, I mean, you had the hair, her hair is blowing in the wind, and cause she can see the ocean, she can hear the ocean. But I mean, if you've never experienced it and you've never heard or seen any video or audio of a beach, how do you know what waves sound like to imagine it? Well, I don't know, but we'll see. Um, there's, she's obviously delusional. She's imagining everything, and yeah, she's imagining she's got her family on the beach, and we find out later on that she never actually had a family. But from what I can understand, that guy on the beach is actually the same man that she was looking to have a family with in the past, and never had a chance to. So, okay, why not? Yeah, it's interesting opening. But then we go back. She gets woken up by the nurse. She's just standing there doing nothing, and yeah, she's just imagining everything. And yeah, it's obviously it's a type of dementia, delusional tendencies and stuff like that. But for what I can understand, it's medication. It's the medication causing it. So we'll see. We'll see in the next episode. Hopefully, we'll find something out. But yeah, the nurse gives her an injection, and from what I can understand, or from what I could see, Gloria falls asleep. So yeah, and then we get Julie is looking through the book. She looks at the front. She sees Gloria's name, and she remembers seeing Gloria's name in the file. So she goes and gets the file out of the oven. What better place to store a file if you never use the oven? But yeah, it's interesting because we see an interview date. But I'm not going to go into that. There's not much information there to go into. But we see a date, and the date just happens to cut off the year. So it's the 12th of the first. Or was it the 1st of December? It's hard to tell. I mean, it's American stars, so it'll be what, January 12th or the 1st of December? No, it's January 12th, because I believe in America you go month, day, year, don't you? As opposed to we go day, month, year. But yeah, so she finds out that we go to Sims, and Sims is being his normal self and just standing there. We see him go into the room that's later on in the episode, which is interesting. Goes through the janitorial closet, but yeah, he's being his sinister self, with his black leather jacket and shaved head and a beard. I'm not one for stereotyping, but a bald black man wearing all black with a black leather jacket. Would you say that's stereotyping, that he's a bad guy? Because I would. But anyway, we move on to the medical wing because Juliet finds out that Gloria is in long-term care. So on the medical floor, I believe. And she goes there, and the nurse tells her that she can't give out that information, and we have a conversation about that. Now, I can understand them having a long-term care in the silo, but in my opinion, this seems a very small place. I mean, if this is supposed to be in the hospital, I mean, it's a very small place for a hospital. Even later on, when we see the nursery, it's very small for the amount, and there might not be many babies in there, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So she's basically told, she can't do this, can't do that. So she says that she's the sheriff, and she can, she's overriding the policy or whatever, and yeah, and then she meets Gloria, and she sees that Gloria is in a highly medicated state, and that she's imagining the beach again. So she's not very lucid. She barely recognizes that Juliet is there. Right. The Billings had to go and break up a small riot in one of the lower levels, and yeah. But I mean, I'm liking this guy more and more as we get to know him, because he's a good character, and I kind of like good characters. He's kind of with the sheriff, but then he's not. But then he's trying to show the sheriff how to do the job. And then we have this canteen scene where I forget the name of that guy. He's not really interesting to me at the moment, to be honest. Nothing's really going on. But he finds Juliet sitting there staring at the screen, looking for the stars. Well, the lights in the sky, as they call them. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly what this is going to play into. Hoping to find out in the next episode, to find out what's going on about the stars, because they don't even know what they're called. They're just lights in the sky as far as they're concerned. So a lot of the history and the education is just not there. I mean, they're like young teenage kids in their education, basically. In my opinion, I mean, it just really do seem immature as characters. But I mean, I suppose it's understandable. I mean, they're controlling the knowledge and everything inside the silo, but I don't know. It's just it's one of those things. So she goes to see the judge, and the judge is basically the judge is concerned because she's actually being threatened. And I think it's Sims, because Sims he seems to have control over judicial. I can't pronounce it for some reason at the moment, but judicial, which I find interesting. But to be honest, it was inevitable. I mean, I could tell that he was something at the beginning, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. I knew that he was a manipulative guy. We see that he's not afraid to kill people. He's not afraid to kill a mayor, basically, because he's obviously the one that gave the order, and he's not concerned about killing a sheriff's deputy. Now, I like that they have a sinister guy, but it's almost like having a bald black guy with all black with a leather jacket. I mean, in my opinion, it's almost like it's a stereotyping in a way that the old classic American action films or shows that have an English guy as the bad guy. That's stereotyping. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that us Brits, we do play a pretty mean bad guy. But when we find out that the judge is being manipulated, and she's basically just there for the sake of being there. She hasn't got any power whatsoever. She's had everything taken away from her. But as far as I'm concerned, she could speak out because she is one of the highest ranked officials in the silo. So why can't she speak out? I mean, the people would listen to her because she is one of the higher level officials. But she's scared. She's really scared of what might happen to her. She knows that she could get killed, and then Sims would be officially her replacement, I reckon. But I hope that doesn't happen because he's a cliche bad guy essentially, you know. And then Juliet gets her father to kidnap Gloria and take her to the nursery where they have a conversation. Yeah, it's interesting. We find out that these firekeepers are the ones that they're trying to stop from before. I'm guessing the firekeepers are the people that started the rebellion or the revolution years earlier. But we don't know that. I mean, it's 150 or something years before we're seeing it. So, no, the fact that she knew her mother as well comes up, and yeah, it's obvious. I mean, Juliet is a curious woman, and given a badge, I mean, all she's wanted to do is find out what happened to George, and now, it's spreading from George to everything else, including her mother, Gloria, her father. Gloria even tells her about her father not removing the contraceptive device from people because they don't want them to breed. They don't want them. They're basically trying to breed specific things out of the silo population. Which, yeah, I suppose. But I mean, if you're trying to control the population in the silo, you've pretty much gone over the limit that the silo is capable of housing in it anyway. From the looks of it, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff that they have in there. But I mean, how can that? When you have to control the population to the point where you're not going to have food issues. You're not going to be starved. You're not going to have them starving. You're not going to run out of food. You're not going to run out of water. Maybe the water purification system can only manage a certain number of people. But I mean that for that reason, I can understand population control. But when they're doing it in the way that they are, it doesn't make sense. You're in a confined space. Every year or so, the population is increasing. As the kids grow up, they're going to have a place of their own to live, which means that everything is moving along in a uncontrolled manner up to that point. Now, where they get the alcohol from, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the mayor's alcohol is old. So where they're storing it, I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that I would consider important enough to put in the silo when it was originally populated anyway. I mean, a bottle of wine could take up a month's supply of rations, if you see what I mean. So the stuff that they have, it doesn't make sense to me in survival wise, especially if they were supposed to be surviving some kind of apocalypse. But it's we find out some good information from Gloria that that Juliet's father, is actually the one that that is being told to not remove the contraceptives. She confronts him, and he's guilty. He says that he was scared. I mean, he had to do it. There was no, they force him to do it. I mean, he doesn't want to do it. He's just told that he's not allowed to actually allow certain people to get pregnant. Now, I believe that's a form of genocide, but I won't go into that because that's different. Well, anyway, she gets Gloria in a wheelchair, starts wheeling her back to the long-term care wing of the medical floor, I believe. And yeah, and we get Sims. You know, they finally found her, or she's popped up on the cameras, which they have everywhere, behind the glass, in the behind the mirrors. It's crazy. And you know, people are actually, and the former sheriff actually used to put the flowers in front of the mirrors where the cameras were, which is interesting. Now, yeah, she takes Gloria back, and she asks about the former sheriff, and um, you know, did he ever visit? And Gloria says that he spent most of his time working on the vent. You know, this is after he's covered the mirror with the flowers. So yeah, she goes to the vent. She opens. She covers the mirror with a blanket, and then goes to the vent, and she finds the hard drive that we saw in the beginning, like the first episodes, which is good. So we know all that. I mean, and that is old technology. That is far older than the monitors that the friends of the silo use. If that's who they are in, you know, watching the monitors. So she finds it, and then we get these guys wearing all black. It's like a tactical riot gear or something. Not that it's very good, because it's essentially just a what is that? It's a hockey mask or a baseball mask or something, or a cricket mask. It's just a sports mask on a helmet, really. It's not. It stops someone from hitting you, but I mean, it doesn't seem very tactical to me. And they have T-bars or tonfas, as I believe is the original name for that kind of baton. So yeah, so that's what we get. Now, that's where it ends. It just abruptly ends there when we see the guy. Where is she? What's it going to matter now? I mean, what's going to happen next week? I'm looking forward to it, because I am pretty interested in seeing what happens. And if you're interested in seeing what happens, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and click that bell icon to be notified of upcoming content. And I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Catch you later, guys.